A few years ago, I was leading a creative thinking workshop for 10 middle-aged chemical salesmen in the Midwest. The morning went quite well. They were animated, they were open, they were learning, they were getting plenty of ideas about how to grow their business. Everything was going smoothly. At lunchtime, they left to have lunch, and I stayed back to set things up for the afternoon. Part of the afternoon, the first activity, required me to make a 20-foot piece of tape on the floor to mark off some territory that was part of a game or a problem-solving challenge that we were going to have. And I did it, and I forgot about it, and I continued doing other things and got ready for this session to begin in the afternoon. They were supposed to come back at 1 o'clock, and I looked, and no one was coming back. And I thought, do I have the time right? And I looked at my watch, I looked at the clock, everything was fine. Still, nobody had returned. Then I look, and I see they're all standing outside of the door. And I beckoned to them, come on guys, it's fine, the session's starting, come on in. And they looked at me and just shook their heads like this, we can't. And they went, really, you can't? Why can't you? And they pointed down to the ground where that piece of tape was that I had put on the floor. To them, it was a boundary. It was a line. And they somehow refused to step over it. That there was something wrong if they stepped over the line. Their memory of lines, the dotted white line down the road, or the line that John Wayne draws in the sand, or come across that line if you dare, whatever lines meant to them, however much lines constrained their movement, they saw that line of masking tape on the floor and they refused to budge. So I walked to the door and I had to just ease them and coax them into the room, telling them it was okay, it was just a prop for an activity later. It's perfectly fine, gents. You can come into the room. They looked at me sort of quizzically, is it okay, is it okay? And finally they walked in and we began. That moment is indelibly impressed in my mind. I was totally dumbfounded that a single piece of masking tape on the floor would be enough to prevent 10 mature individuals from moving forward. And then it dawned on me that we're doing this all the time. We have all made imaginary lines that are in the sand, imaginary boundaries that we're afraid to cross, that somehow elicit this feeling of risk, the uh-oh factor. What happens if I step over that? I go one bridge too far. And this, quite frankly, is one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, why innovation is so flaccid in so many organizations. Because people fundamentally are afraid to take that bold step forward over the line that they themselves have drawn in the sand, or somebody else, their superior, or the people that came before them, this imagined boundary, which is bogus. It is bogus. Innovators, creative thinkers, breakthrough thinkers are people who are willing to step over, to go beyond these imaginary assumptions that thwart progress. I'm asking you, as I ask myself, and I ask all of my clients, to first identify what are those assumptions that are preventing you from stepping forward, and then what is it going to take that bold step over and across that imaginary line?